Welcome to the Other View podcast. The purpose of the podcast is to help us break the path to a life full of abundance, happiness, and success with the help of a different look at situations in our lives. Each chapter will help us in the journey to discover our higher self and will combine spirituality, business, health, relationships, and any topic that will help us in the journey of development is received here with love. If you haven't done so yet, do a subscribe so you won't miss any episode. Let's begin. Enjoy today's episode. Welcome to the Other View podcast. It's the first time in English. I'm very excited to do it. Usually it's in Hebrew. And now my very best friend from Bali, Darsh, I'm here. I'm a big fan of him. Like, he's my inspiration. He was an optometrist. How do you say it? Right?
Optometrist, yeah.
And he left this job for doing what he loved the best, the most, and it's fitness. And he's a great coach and huge inspiration, great man. And let's talk with him and drain the inspiration from you. So, Dash, how are you doing?
Thank you, Go. Thank you for the introduction as well. And I love the fact that you think I'm the inspiration. I'm always looking at you and just thinking, you've done so much. And the time we met in Bali as well was just absorbing so much knowledge from you, and you shared so much with me. So I appreciate being on the first one in English. So thank you for reaching out and thank you for making this happen.
Thank you very much, you're here. So the first question, like, you were an optometrist, right?
Optometrist, yeah.
Optometrist. Yeah, I think it's like a good job, great money. It's like great resume for you. Like, you're a great skill you have. And then why did you left everything, the good life, the money and everything for coaching? Why?
So I think we could dissect what the optometry... I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm so glad I did the optometry first. And, it taught me so much. It taught me so many valuable tools, especially now that I am a coach, just how to interact with people, how I can really get on their level, and just to see exactly what it is that's holding them back. As an optometrist, I had 20 minutes per client to find out more information about them, ask them all these questions, help them, and just to see how things like glasses, any other tools can help them in their life. But I guess the thing that I wanted the most, and I guess the thing that I couldn't see the most value was, I don't wear glasses, right? But I'm prescribing and giving someone glasses to provide them value, but I couldn't see the value in myself. And that's where I think I was just like, what is it that I'm changing in their life? Yes, I could see the emotional side of things, but I couldn't see it personally. I couldn't see that because it wasn't happening to me. But fitness for me has always been a big part of my life. So I could see how putting in hard work can allow you to get results. So that's how I felt I could be of more value and can relate to someone, basically. So I did optometry since the age of 17. I'm 31 now. I decided to say no more to optometry when I think it was 27 or 28, where I was just like, a whole 10 years of this was all I knew, to start asking myself some really serious questions of, how can I be better or value? And is this where I can see myself doing for the rest of my life? And then the next question I asked myself was, what do I enjoy?
Yeah.
And those questions took me back to my childhood. What did I do? I mean, when you're a child, you don't really think about what is it that you how you could provide value. You just do what you feel you have the most joy, right? You're just out playing. And that's what I thought the most. I just loved that fitness and sport aspect. So this is why I wanted to bring that into something I feel like I can, one, do every day, and number two, to provide value to other people. So yeah, it was a big change when you hear that calling, you can't ignore it. So I decided to just make that big leap. And
With immediately everything, or you did it like in steps by step?
so I guess it was an idea for a little bit. I was like, I love to travel and I love fitness. And, this decision that I made was whilst I was in Australia. I wasn't in the UK at the time. And I just loved that idea of I'd love to be able to work from everywhere. So I wouldn't say it was like a snapped decision for me to go, okay, no more. It was a build-up of things. I was like, how amazing would it be if I could just work from anywhere in the world?
Yeah.
Just having a laptop, my phone, because technology has advanced so much. And I thought this would be such a great thing to be able to do, but I guess I just didn't know how, or I didn't ask myself the right questions.
And you can inspire much more people around the world, not just the people, not just like you clients. Like you can inspire everyone from all around the world. That's what you're
Correct.
now, right?
Exactly. I mean, as an optometrist, the only person I can help is the person right in front of me, right? The person that's decided to book themselves with me, the person that's decided to give me that 20 minutes of their day. But I felt like I could just do so much more and have more of an impact. And yes, it was a build-up of things. I was like, okay, let's see if I can combine the fitness, and let's see if I can combine the travel, and those two things I love. And again, I can impact with the great thing about the internet, the great thing about this, how you're in Israel, I'm here in the UK, and we can do this, yet we can inspire so many people with what's available and the platforms that are available for people.
Definitely, that's definitely amazing. So, hard question. I think it's relevant for everyone. How you were so brave to give up for everything for being a fitness coach? Like many people that hear us, maybe they have great jobs, maybe they have a great resume, they have maybe family, and they can't leave everything to do what they really love. How did you do it?
So I guess, with everything that you do, it always has a risk, right? And I think there's so many people out there that have so many ideas, so many things that they want to be able to do, but always that sense of security that holds them back, or fear, which is the biggest one. And I was terrified of doing this, as I can either go this way to do something I love and how I can feel more valuable to the world, or I can stay in this little corner here and just be safe. And I started asking myself, I was like, okay, this is just the way I process things. If I was on my deathbed and I was lying there and just knowing that I could have done those things, I could have gone for my dreams, I could have made those things happen, but I didn't.
Wow.
And that's how I process things. I was like, I don't think that sense of regret, I don't want when I'm laying there to know I could have done it. And the decision that saying that I could have done it comes down to my decision, no one else's. So that's how I process that. And also understanding that, it took me so many years to become an optometrist, like through highs, lows, I managed to do something that I wasn't passionate about. I put in so much hard work. And to know that for this next journey, I can do something I love, but yet I have to put in the hard work. I guess I was very naive and just thinking, this is what I want to do. Everything will come. The moment I say I'm a coach, everyone will start coming to me. But that wasn't the case.
No.
And
Even
making
you're good and you're very smart and like you have great videos and everything, but it's difficult.
it's very difficult, and it's just learning the skills. So if I break it down, for me to be an optometrist, there's a certain criteria that I needed to pass in order to be that person. Similar to a coach, I think you need that sense of resilience. You need to keep pushing harder, and you need to learn the skills like marketing and sales and all these things I didn't know.
I remember in Bali how you built all the strategy and you read a lot and you listened to podcasts and everything. Like you got all the information and all the knowledge you can from everywhere that come. It was incredible.
Yeah, it's been a journey, and it's quite exciting at the same time, because all the stuff I learn, I can apply. And I guess that's the real, if there was anything that I can say that can help, it's just the fact that, the results won't come straight away. We've been built in a world where especially with social media, that we're built on instant gratification. You put a picture up, you might get a like. But I guess with this direction of taking a leap and trying to do something that you love, you won't get the results straight away. But the journey will test you. You'll see how much you want it. It will challenge you. But the rewards are just amazing when you keep showing up every day.
Yeah, like you need to enjoy the journey, not to wait for the target until you achieve it. Like, enjoy the journey, even if it's difficult, even if you don't know what to do and when to do and how to do. Just enjoy the learning, enjoy the process, enjoy everything. I want to ask, if you live by kind of spiritual thing, like law of attraction or anything mindset that like you live day by day by thinking about those spiritual things from your Hindu or I don't know.
So, yeah, definitely. I mean, being Indian myself, like being brought up as a Hindu, I wouldn't necessarily say I apply those principles to my life, but from reading books and just looking at what other people have done, one thing that's quite interesting is that they all believe in the law of attraction, that ability to manifest. And it's having that vision of, what that future looks like. And it's coming across people like Will Smith, it's people like Tony Robbins. A big influence from me, and I can tell you the story about that, is Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm not sure if we had a chance to, you're aware, which is amazing.
I do.
Yeah, exactly. Just his work. And I think being very open to that, it's allowed so many opportunities which I almost envision or written down to come to fruition and happen in my life. And I'm just there like, it's just amazing, But again, I think people they want it and expect it straight away. But you just
Ask for it.
have to believe.
So
Yeah,
you need to manifest, like to believe it belongs to you and you worth it, but you also need to make actions, right? And if you just do actions, you might not achieve your dreams. And if you're just dreaming, you're not gonna achieve because you don't do actions, right? So
correct. I think it was in the book, The Secret,
the secret,
which is all about the law of attraction. One thing they have is that you got the law of attraction, then you have the law of Goya, which is get off your ass, meaning do action. So that's when I realized action plays a big part in the law of attraction, actually making daily habits of going towards that goal.
insane. And from the Hindu, is there anything similar or something else you believe that you follow by?
I would definitely, I very much don't know much about the Hindu religion in that sense as well. But when it came to me being in India, I was in India not so long ago, and I immersed myself into yoga and the philosophy around yoga. And believe it or not, what exists there is the law of attraction. They do something called a yoga nidra, which is basically like almost a psychic sleep, they call it. And you're kind of in a meditation, and you're just kind of being aware of your whole body. And what they say in this about this type of psychic sleep is the fact that whatever you dream of, whatever you think of, it's 100% guaranteed to happen. And when you think 100%, you're like, wow, it's because you just believe it's going to happen. Like, imagine that sense of feeling and emotion that you just know it's going to happen. So from yoga being a stem from obviously the Hindu tradition, I can say that that's something I learned the most, was this sense of when you're in that state, when you're in that state of creativity, you can believe these thoughts, you can have these visions, and you can have the emotions that you would have when that actual result happens. And it is, like they say, 100% going to happen.
Insane. It's like by the science, it's called energy. Like everything is from energy, right? like every atoms, like the smallest thing in the world that lived in everything, in the computer, in my cells, and everything, atoms, it made from 99%, 99.9999999%.
Yeah.
So it means everything is energy. So if you just think about something, you can create things. So that's what you mean also from the yoga, right?
Correct. It was very interesting, and I guess looking at that. I mean, I knew about the law of attraction before that as well, and looking at that and looking at all the other, I guess the spiritual gurus out there, or whether it's a guru or whether it's someone who's a leader in the personal development space. One thing that Tony Robbins said is, when it comes to your goal, and if you imagine a missile, and the missile locks onto the target. So the more you think about it, no matter how much it moves, this missile of yours eventually will get the target. So that's what reminded me is that the moment, I mean, every morning I meditate, and every morning I remind myself of what it is that I want in the future, imagining if I already have it today.
Also, to imagine the winning picture, it's pretty difficult, even for me sometimes. Like, it's pretty hard to see what is the main goal, what is the farthest place I can get. How do you do it?
So I guess, when it comes to the stuff that I've achieved so far, I guess the final goal is you can never, for me personally, I was like, I don't know what that looks like, but I know the next level for me looks like this. So I guess for me, I work towards that. And then that could be in the next 5 years where I'm like, okay, this is where I want to be in the next 5 years. And then when I'm there, what's the next level? So I think that's how I tend to break things down. Yes, I have an idea of somewhat the bigger picture in the long distance future, but I won't be able to kind of pinpoint exactly what it is that it will look like. But I can kind of give you the idea of the steps before getting to where I want to be.
So like you make the picture of like the next 5 years, and then another 5 years.
Correct.
It's incredible. So before you started the optometrist,
Yeah, you got it.
then you didn't imagine like you're gonna be a fitness coach, right? But you imagined all of your life you want this job, like to be an optometrist.
So that's the thing. I guess when it came to me being at university, the kind of the law of attraction or the manifesting, I never did it. I didn't know about it. It was never exposed to me. It came on after I finished university. So this idea of just thinking, believe it or not, Guru, when I finished as an optometrist, I was so excited. I was like, I don't need to learn anymore. I don't need to do any exams. I can do this for the rest of my life. But I guess deep down,
A normal person, like
yes,
normal life, study, work, die. But you're not gonna fulfill yourself and your passions and being happy, truly happy.
exactly. And then that's when I, started reading books. My first ever book because I wasn't a big reader. People go, oh, I've read so many books. I was like, I've not read in so long. And then I remember watching an interview with Will Smith, and the first book he said that he'd read or recommend people to read was The Alchemist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was a novel about the law of attraction. So that was, I guess, if you want to call it the can of worms that opened up everything for me to go, oh my God, there is energy around us and we can create our reality. I mean, on my wrist here, this means create your own reality. So I'm all about that.
Which tradition?
This is in the Viking tradition. So this is a Viking symbol. And I have it there to remind myself daily, because with daily stresses, daily life, it's very easy to fall back into old ways. So I have it right next to my watch, which I look at. I'm like, I get to create it. We aren't the managers of our life, we get to create it. We are the creators.
Wow. That's beautiful, man. You're such an inspiration for me.
But again, I guess for your audience and my audience, is that I was never, it wasn't like I was born and I knew all these laws and I did it from the very start. You know, it came later in life. But by being aware of it and actually utilizing that tool, my life has just unfolded in the way I feel like I am best to help people around the world, for sure.
Yeah, in my surrounding, like my family and friends, they don't aware about those possibilities, about law of attraction, about mindset, about the manifest. They are not aware of nothing. Also, you and I, before a couple of years ago, we didn't know about it as well. How can we, like for the listeners and also for me to explore this world for my family, how can we make it possible to show them this world? Like most of them, it's like, I don't believe it. Oh, that's bullshit. Oh, let's live the life like everyone do, study, work, die. Do you think you can explore it and tell them something that can really make the change?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You know, I guess the way I've always explained it to people is that, you know, this, whether it happens now or happens later on, usually there's something that requires you to start to look into these things. You know, for me, it was, luckily it came to the fact that I saw what other people were doing who were successful. I'm like, what is it? Because I'm a big believer in success leaves clues. And I was looking at all the people that were succeeding. Let's say success is, for my definition, success is how happy you are with your life.
Yeah.
You know, what is it that they've done? What is it that they do on a daily basis? So I guess for me to say to someone, you should be doing this is, one, are they happy doing what they're doing right now? And is this what they feel like I feel like everyone's got a gift. I go, do you feel like you are sharing your gift with the world? If it is, I won't do anything about it because that person is happy.
They don't know how to feel. They don't know, they are not connected to their bodies, to the souls, to the spirit. They're just living life. They don't meditate. I think this question it's good. Like, yeah, I'm happy, but you don't really know what is true happiness.
That's very true. Yeah.
What you can fulfill. You don't know that. Like I ask people, how is your nutrition? And most of them saying, yeah, it's good. And I'm asking them, what is good for you? And then it's awful nutrition, because they don't aware.
Yeah, that's actually a very valid point. You know, as an optometrist, one of the questions was like, how is your general health? And, you know, I'm talking to people who are like in their 50s, maybe in their 60s, and they go, yeah, it's good. And I'm like, okay, do you take any medication? And they'll list me like 20 medications that they're taking. So I'm like, okay, so your general health is still good? They're like, oh, okay, maybe not. You know, it's managed with all these medications and all these ways to, you know, one medication helps them with this and the other one is to help the actual medication side effects. And then this is happening. So I'm just like, okay, so we need to look into that. So I completely agree that people don't necessarily know what is good for them. So I guess the next question is, you know, it's tough, right? It's tough to go like, how can I show you a tool that will change everything for you? Or do you believe in energy? And like, it's hard to say exactly what you can do unless I can tell you where I was. You know, I feel like through storytelling, that's how people, well, the way I look at it even with my clients is, I can never go, this is what you need to do and you'll get it. Especially if it's someone that doesn't do on a daily basis, they can't see the value. But if I was to say, hey, I was actually 20 kilos heavier than I am now.
Right.
And, you know, my mindset was the way it is right now. Like, it was not so good. You know, I felt very depressed and I felt very low and my confidence was low. But then I started taking these daily actions, or like, you know, I started picking up a book and I read this idea of law of attraction, and I started to envision the person I wanted to be, knowing that, you know, every day I go to the gym. Yes, it's going to be hard, but I've got a goal and I know the person I want to become. So if I was to change things, I think when it comes to storytelling, I think it's the most powerful tool when it comes to trying to resonate with someone. You can always say, do this, do this, do this. But I guess if they don't see the value in that, or if they don't see the inspiration in that for them to take action, I think it's better if the story kind of can, no matter how many people, some people will resonate with your story, some people won't, and that's okay. As long as your story is having somewhat a ripple effect with other people to make that change, whether it's the moment you decided to get up early rather than sleeping in, how much of a difference can that make from someone's morning, right? That one little small action for them to take the necessary changes for them to make that, for them to go towards that person they know they can be. So I genuinely feel like there's no real answer to going, hey, what can I say to you for you to go, okay, I believe in the law of attraction. But if I can tell them my story of how things have been done and created because of this law I definitely believe in the universe, and really envisioning my future, I feel like that's definitely the better way and how I'd approach trying to explain what the law of attraction is to someone and how it can genuinely change lives.
It's insane. I was searching about it. Like in every religious, they're talking about something similar, even in yoga, as you said. Like the most knowledge people from every religious are talking about it. But most of the people are not using it. How is it possible? It's almost similar for every religious. It's like almost the same, even in yoga and every other thing that are not religious thing. How is it make sense? Many people know about it, but few are using it.
Again, I think when you think about religion, it's people's experiences that they've had within that religion that pass on through generations as well. And whether people are not speaking about their true, like how it's affected them, as in through generations, so a higher generation have kind of spoken about, this is what's happened to me, this is what I've created, and the reason it's happened is because I believe in some sort of energy, whether it's a being or whether it's, God, universe, whatever it may be. But unless it's being passed on from an elder to the youngsters, I think it can be lost. And the way I explain it to people is very similar to, I guess, language. Me being brought up in the UK, and luckily I speak another language, but the generation after me, it's slowly fading away. Generation after that probably won't even know the language I can speak. Very similar to, I guess, when it came to the law of attraction, if it's not being passed on, not being taught, it can easily be faded away, even from the religions, if it's not being passed on in the way they guess they want them to be, the right information to be passed on to these people. If that makes sense.
It definitely makes sense. I think on my researches, it's like they are hiding it from us. Someone, for some reason, somewhere, I don't know, are hiding this information, like the secret. It's like, it's a secret. Like, the people that knows about it, it's like only the best one. I don't know who's gonna be, what's the name of him? I forgot, but I heard about many people that changed the world. They were using the secret. Eric Einstein and many others, like for some reason, they had the knowledge, but they didn't tell it to anyone. And even in the Jewish religious, there is a book that's called the Zohar. And the Zohar is mean like the spark.
Okay.
But all the stories I heard about the Zohar, about spark, it's like you are not allowed to read it because you're gonna get insane. And only few months ago, when I explored all the spiritual things and the spark and the secret and everything, now I made a connection. It's like the Zohar, the spark. It means like you're gonna explore how the universe works, but you're not allowed to read it because you're gonna get insane. So no one is reading it. For me, it's mind blowing.
That is, I mean, and nothing to take away from, society, but I mean, if it wasn't for me having that realization going, I want to do something that I enjoy, where would I be? I would be working for someone else. I'd be going to a job that I didn't like, which is, believe it or not, what a lot of people are doing right now, right? But I read The Secret. I read a tool that I can use that kind of got me out of that. So we can actually look at what's actually happening around us from as an observer going, oh my God, this is what's happening. Because I guess I won't be surprised if people are going, hey, you don't need the law of attraction. It's for crazy people, because they realize what it does. It gets people out of the system, if you want to call it that, and it gets them kind of looking at what's really happening.
The matrix.
Yeah, the matrix, exactly. So that's the way I think things are happening right now. People I'd say, are looking at alternative medicines, and they're obviously looking at other ways of looking after themselves, because they're realizing the traditional way isn't working, and they're realizing there is a system, and the system is governed by people, I guess, that want to keep you in there rather than have you out and actually looking at what's really going on.
That's a great subject. What do you think about the medical world? About the hospitals, about the pills, about all the shit they push to everyone? What do you think about it? Do you use it? Do you believe in nutrition can make the change? The mindset can make the change? How do you live about this world?
So it's a very good topic, Agur, because, don't get me wrong, the medical field has expanded. Yes, I know it saved so many lives as well. But I always put it down to two things. There's health span and there's lifespan. Lifespan is how long your life is and how well and how good you feel in that lifespan. Health span is, it's the other way around. In fact, the health span is, how healthy are you in your life? Are you living sick for longer? Which is what's basically happening. That's what medication is doing. Because people, believe it or not, can't put the energy into looking after themselves. Eating properly, going to the gym shouldn't be something I need to go to the gym to lose weight. It should be going to the gym to look after this vessel that we have.
The machine.
The machine, right? It functions when you give it good things. But what I feel like the medical, like the big pharmaceutical industries are doing at the moment is going, if you've got high blood pressure, it's all good. We'll give you a pill for that. Not knowing that if you go and actually go to the gym, you can bring down your blood pressure. So one thing I noticed the most, and this is why I'm grateful for the fact that I was an optometrist, is actually looking at the medications. And I was the one to go to people and go, you can actually just find another way through your nutrition, through what you're eating, so you don't have to take that medication anymore, because these medication might be kind of solving like a small bit, but is giving you all these other problems. And the way I explained it to people, just so they, again, through storytelling, is imagine a house is on fire and you go into that house and all you did was switched off the fire alarm. The fire is still going on, but the sound isn't going off anymore. Similar to our body, the fire is still going, but you just kind of alleviated that one pain. But it's still happening. You're not solving the problem.
Not the deeper problem, like what is the real reason it make.
Yeah, and obviously that's depending on mindset, because we usually want the easy option. And that's where I feel like we're having a lot of trouble these days, is because of that.
Yeah, in the modern world, you go to the doctor only when you are sick. In the Western world, in the Eastern world, China, Japan, and everything, you go to the doctor like almost every week to make sure your body is healthy and you are healthy.
Yep.
Like, the best doctors in the modern world, in the Western world, is like the doctor that have as many as he can clients, like the C clients. And in the Eastern world, is the opposite. The good doctor, the doctor that have many clients healthier.
Yes. So true. You know, because we need to remind ourselves that pharmaceutical companies are a business. They will go to doctors and go, hey, sell our product rather than their product. So, end of the day, someone out there is making a profit out sick people. So if there's no sick people, there's no profit. Meaning, if you can keep sick people sick for longer, you make more money. And this is the business. And that's the sad truth.
You know, I have a friend, a good friend. She worked in the medical industry, medical medicine industry, and she left it, of course, when she noticed the doctors get percents from each medicine they give. So they don't really care about you. They care about your money. They don't really care about telling you, eat healthier, make the nutrition better, go to the gym to work out a little bit. They just want you to come to the surgery so they can get $10,000 about it, for it. So they don't really care about you. They just want you to come to the hospital and give them money.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I can honestly, thinking back at my experience when I was as an optometrist, you know, I had this one patient who came to see me, and for 2 weeks she had headaches. And I was like, okay, did you go see the doctor? She goes, yeah, I saw him. I was like, what did he do? She just gave me these pills. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I was just like, did he check inside your eyes? And he goes, oh no. I was like, did he check your blood pressure? He goes, no. I was like, okay. So I put her on my machine. I looked in her eyes. I was like, you need to go to the hospital now. Like, not tomorrow, not like now. She goes there and they saw her immediately, found out she had a brain tumor.
No way, man. And you saw that?
And I could basically, there's a condition that we have in the eyes, that if there's a buildup of pressure in the brain, I can see that based on how our optic nerve looks inside the eyes. So as soon as I put my lens to see inside the eyes, I was just there like, you need to go now because this is not good. And immediately they saw her, and then luckily if it wasn't for that, she obviously would have passed, but she managed to go see her daughter's wedding because of that. But again, I was like, the doctor didn't look inside your eyes. That's like the first thing that they should do. So yeah, that's when I was like, I have no hope.
You saved their lives, first of all. That's insane. And you know,
Yeah.
doctors, they smarter than everyone. You saved her. He just wanted to give her pills, take it, enjoy, die in peace in your home.
Yeah, and that's when I was like, that's when I know I was like, okay, I've done a really good thing. I still have somewhere that she bought me a chocolate bar. I don't eat chocolate, but she bought me a chocolate with my name saying thank you, because if it wasn't for that, she would have missed her daughter's wedding. So yeah, that was a big eye opener, because we look at doctors as this authority figure going, they know everything. Whatever they say, they know best. I found out a statistic that I was actually listening to a podcast not so long ago, and it was with Tony Robbins as well. And he goes, I think it was about 80% of the time, if you go to one doctor and they diagnose you, and you go to another doctor and they diagnose you, they will never match. I was like, what?
And you see, then it's science. Science, 100% science.
So that was a big eye opener for sure.
So how do you take all those views of life, of mindset and everything to your personal life and personal business?
So one thing that a lot of people don't know about me, they see me now, they see I can speak, you can see I'm relatively confident speaking in front of people these days, but it was never the case. Like when I was back in school, I was always in like the bottom set of class. I was always the person getting taken out of class because I was always misbehaving. And, I never took school seriously. But it was only when I was actually applying for universities did I realize that based on my grades, that I was not going to get into university with my grades. And I had to make literally a deal with my teacher and I go, will you like change my grades? And he goes, no, I'm not going to change it because you deserve this. I was like, please. I was like, look, what can I do to prove to you that I will get, like, I deserve those like predicted grades? And he goes, okay, on the next test, if you ace it, if you do really well in it, I'll think about it. And that's when I realized what hard work can do.
And he gave it opportunity.
Yeah, an opportunity to go, okay, I now have this opportunity where I have to work as hard as I can. And that's when I realized that hard work beats talent every day.
Definitely. I think everyone's saying it, Michael Jordan, everyone, like, that's the most important thing.
Definitely. And I guess a reminder right now, and this is why I say this to people, is that no matter where you are, you have the ability to learn. It might not be the same way someone else learns, but you do have the ability to learn. You may need 10 times as many hours to learn, but you can learn.
But yeah, exactly.
So that's what, in terms of my mindset, is like, I want to be somewhere. And I've proven to myself that I can work hard. So if I use that mindset and use that principle day in, day out, I'll get to where I want to be just through hard work, because somewhere I'm outbeating someone else based on they just give up. But if I keep showing up every day, I'll get to where I want to be. So that was definitely what I learned throughout my I guess my school career, like school life, and then university life, during my after university, and where I am today in business as a coach.
That's so important. So important. And you also coach your clients with some mindset, or just with your great coaching strategy?
So, when it comes to coaching, one thing that optometry and as an optometrist taught me was empathy, being compassionate, really figuring out why this person is doing it. Are they doing it for themselves, or are they doing it for someone else? I really try and find out what is it that they're doing it for. Are they doing it for their future, to be a good dad, to have the energy, or to be a good mom, to make sure that they can have a nice, healthy baby? Those are the things I feel like are so important as a coach, to go, okay, I can see where you're coming from. And now when I coach you, I know what your goal is, because not everyone's goal is the same. You've got someone that wants to just do handstands and a human flag, but you got someone who just wants more energy. If I give the same program to them both, I'm going to have this mom who's doing the human flag, and I was like, she wants.
Wow, that's so important.
So that's definitely how I feel like approach it.
Yeah, it's very unique. I think you're the only coach I heard that is doing something like that. It's so important to get deeper to the problem, like we said about the doctors. They don't ask and they don't give you something for the deepest problem. And that's what you do. And it's amazing. It's amazing. It's great.
It's good, and I guess I've not heard many. There's so many great coaches out there, and I wouldn't say they have their different ways of maybe doing what I do to find out how that best they can help their clients. But, there's also a lot of coaches out there that just provide quick fixes. They go, here's a 12-week program. Here's what you got to do. And then after that, they don't have any communication. And this person has got great results. But one of the biggest things I find that they don't help with is management of stress. And this is how one day of stress can allow this whole cascade for them to go back to exactly how they were.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel tools like meditation, tools like breath work can help someone really control their and help regulate their emotions so they are in control of, not going back to their old habits. So I introduce, even in my strength conditioning or whatever it wants to be, I also introduce these tools of breath work and meditation because it's so important to look after the mind as well as the body.
Yeah, and I know you learned a lot about it in Bali, also in the yoga course you did in India. So you always explore, and you can see him right now. If you listen or you just see the video, it's like only from the shoulders and above. He's a tough guy, very bulk. He's crazy, and he's doing amazing things with his body, everything, handstand, everything, even if he's big and shredded. So it's incredible. And you also do the small and important things for, like, for example, stretching in the yoga and the mindset and the meditation. And I think it's pretty small. Most of the people don't think about it and they don't put the effort to do it, but it's so important for growing and for being better, and don't so you won't give up, because meditation and everything, it's so important to connect with your body, with your soul.
Yeah, definitely. There's three aspects, eat well, move well, and, look after the brain as well. We forget these things and the thoughts that we have. Our thoughts aren't us. And it's just having that relationship to just sit back and just sometimes allow your thoughts just to just tire themselves out, to go a point and go, okay, we're going to go to the gym. It doesn't matter what you say, we're going to go because we know it's going to be good for us. And another thing I like to tell people is that, they see us, especially you, Gur, as well. You wake up very early, but do they realize that every morning we still have that same battle going? You can sleep longer, you can. You can do it today.
But it's happening every morning. I'm doing it for like 5 years. I'm waking up at 4:50 a.m. and still every morning it's difficult.
Yep. And this is what I say to people. They're like, oh, you can get up. I was like, it's a challenge every day. And again, there's a tool you can use. For me, I've tried different tools. One of them was, I don't make decisions when I'm in bed. Second one was, I count down from 5. It's actually from Mel Robbins. She goes, start counting down from 5, and then by 1, you've got to be out of bed.
Yeah, exactly.
Stops you from thinking.
Yeah, what else? What else helps you?
So the other one was, I don't make decisions whilst I'm in bed. I make them outside of bed. So you just don't have that thing. So shall I stay in bed? Should I just sleep for 1 more hour? You don't make any decisions until you're outside of bed.
Except the sofa near the corner, right?
That's different. We've had plenty of, definitely many naps on that sunbed. That's for sure.
Insane. So do you have anything else you want to say to the people that listen, that watch us? Anything to know about you, about what you can explore to the world, something that can help them?
So I think the big one, I always mention is that you got to really look after just how you respond to people, as in, when I say respond, I mean, sorry, the other way, how you react to people, knowing that everything that you've done up until now, it's almost like your body knows exactly how to react to certain situations. It's on autopilot. And it's actually realizing that sometimes if you weren't even thinking, you reacted the same way. It's all, if I was to think about the science side of things, it's all the chemicals that's happening. So, for example, if you see a chocolate donut on the table and you didn't know it was there, but all of a sudden you'd see it, all of a sudden, all the hormones will start kicking in your body, and because you've done it over and over again. But the great thing is that you can change that. And it just takes some time, but it can be done just by noticing how you feel, noticing the thoughts that come up, and deciding to not do it and then doing that daily, you program everything that's going on in your body. You can program a better choice. And this is what I want to people, is just really understanding who they are, really understanding that you can change, and there's some amazing tools out there. And the final one I want to say is just really start to explore the power of the breath in emotions, through stress management, and even just for sleeping. Those three can really open up so many questions as to, how we should breathe in certain situations. And just so they start to look into it, is the breath is with us from the moment we are born to the very end. Throughout our life, one thing we have is our high moments, our low moments. But the one thing we notice in those high and low moments, the breath changes. When you're sad, you breathe up here in your chest. When you're happy or very excited, you breathe down in your belly. All those experiences have been experienced through your breath. So you get to choose how to breathe in certain situations. So if you're stressed, don't breathe in your chest. Be aware that you're there. Start to breathe down in your belly. You will instantly calm down. And this is something I just want people to just realize how simple it can be. But that's enough from me.
It's so simple to be healthy. Just breathe. It's amazing. Like, most of the people just breathe. They don't think about it. It's just happening. But if you just think about it, remind yourself to breathe, even if you do it, but you don't think about it, just think about it. It will be way better breathing. Amazing.
Exactly. Exactly.
It was perfect. It was great. It was amazing. And how can we find you?
So my main platforms are both Instagram and YouTube. So it'll be Darsh Lad with an underscore on Instagram, and it's just Darsh Lad on YouTube. But that's where all my content is. I try and give as many workouts available for everyone to follow along with me. And I'm always looking at ways to share more knowledge that I have on my journey with everyone. So that's where they can find me.
That's why it's also came to this podcast in Hebrew, but first time in English. So it was, it's for me also great experience. Thank you for that. It was amazing, interesting, really. And thank you everyone that listened to us, that watched us. If you liked and if you got a little bit more knowledge from it, share it on Instagram, tag us, Guru Arad and Darsh Lad, and that's how we can explore and expose more knowledge to the world and make this world better and the people happier and healthier. And thank you again. And that's the first time in English, and I would love to do more of English. And even if you listen now and you don't know Hebrew, I think it's gonna be more in English very soon. So put a subscribe in the YouTube of Darsh, and let's get us being better persons. That's the most important thing. Thank you, Darsh.
Thank you, Guru. Thank you for having me, and thank you for sharing your knowledge too.